Richard Crowley.
And welcome to RTE News at 6.
Tonight we bring you breaking developments on the construction of the wall in Berlin.
That's right, Shane. It seems that the building that's been taking place for the past 2 weeks seems to be wrapping up today, with the final bricks being laid earlier this afternoon.
Intended to stifle immigration from the East German Democratic Republic to the west, the Berlin Wall is not the first time the Soviets have attempted to limit the free movement of the German people. In 1948, the Soviets attempted to block Western access to certain areas of Berlin, but ultimately failed.
The wall has been a surprise to many, with several citizens now separated on the other side of the wall from family and friends. For further details on the ground, we will now go to Sandrine, who is at the Berlin Wall, live.
Live from the east side of the wall. Until the wall went up, the East was interested in Berlin, built to stop residents of East Berlin from crossing over into the capitalist West Berlin, which was continuing to thrive. Every aspect of life would be now regulated. The construction of the wall has been happening since 13th of August, when the initial shock and animosity happened amongst people. Excuse me, what was your initial reaction to the building of the wall?
I was really shocked and really upset about it.
Okay, and what about you?
I'm a bit heartbroken. My family's on the other side, so I don't know if I'll see them again.
I'm so sorry to hear that. You heard it here first. Back to you.
Thank you, Sandrine, for that riveting report.
Truly shocking indeed. We now go to Kate's report for further information on the events in Berlin.
I'm here in West Berlin, and the atmosphere surrounding the wall is incredibly tense. I spoke to an American civilian who witnessed the scenes of construction. He recalled seeing a line of East German soldiers wielding guns standing off against hundreds of West Berlin demonstrators, mostly young males. He recalls the demonstrators shouting the word Schwein across at the soldiers. Like many West Berliners, he didn't believe the threat of a wall being built would come to fruition, but now we can see that the landscape of Berlin as we know it is indeed changing. Back to you in studio.
Thanks, Kate.
And thank you to all of our reporters tonight.
And there we'll take a quick break. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Up next, we now have an exclusive interview with an anonymous East German citizen and a phone interview with our panel of experts.
Hey Brendan, would you like to try a brand new traditional drink? Do you expect consistent quality? Do you go for a distinctive flavor? Are you man enough to change? Would your friends call you a sound man?
I wear a smile for all to see when Beamish is in front of me. A better drink in every way. Ask for a Beamish stout today.
Sound man, Brendan. Tato, crisps that whisper. Crisps that whisper, Tato. Crisps that whisper freshness. Crisps that whisper crispness. Look for the special pack. Tato are terrific.
Welcome back to RTE News at 6.
Now, we bring you an interview with an East German citizen who wishes to remain anonymous. We go now to Killian.
I'm here in Friedrichshain, a town on the east border of the Berlin Wall, where a member of the public has kindly invited us into their home and agreed to answer our questions. This person has requested to keep their identity anonymous. Firstly, thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us today. How are you finding life in East Berlin since the construction of the Berlin Wall?
Das Leben in Ostberlin war anders fast jeder Aspekt das Leben wurde gerecht. Der Lebensstandard ist viel schlechter als die in Westberlin Lebenden. Niedriger Bezahlung, langender Arbeiten und die Qualität und Menge der Waren wurde begrenzt. Es war klar, Westberlin hatte bessere ökonomische Bedingungen und deshalb wollten viele Menschen da leben.
How will it affect your life in terms of work, friends, and family?
Gerade 18 geworden, so dass meine Eltern sofort über seine Zukunft besorgt waren. Sie wollten ihm ein Praktikum im Büro meines Vaters in West-Berlin bringen. Jetzt wird keiner von ihnen dort arbeiten. Es ist schwierig.
time to speak to us today. We appreciate this must be a very difficult time for you and your family. This is Killian Gleeson reporting live from Friedrichshain, East Germany. Back to Shane and Maren in the studio.
Thanks, Killian, for that interview.
We now go to our Foreign Affairs newsroom with Katie and Kira for an interview with our experts via telephone.
Thank you, Shane, and thank you, Maren. According to recent reports from the Washington Post, the British, French and US West German ambassadors sent letters to the former Soviet Union ambassador, Mikhail Perevukian. In the letters, the ambassadors expressed their dismay to the Kremlin on the current Berlin crisis, particularly the threats against unrestricted air travel between East and West Germany.
Today, RTE is lucky to host an exclusive interview with expert panel from all 4 countries through the medium of telephone. So today we welcome the French Minister of Armies, Pierre Mesmer, the American Ambassador of West Germany, Walter C. Dowling, the Soviet Ambassador of East Berlin, Mikhail Perevukian, and BBC journalist Peter Woon.
Okay, to begin, we have French Minister Pierre Mesmer on the line. Minister, how do the French people feel about the construction of the Berlin Wall?
The establishment of the Berlin Wall is one that myself and the people of this country do not want any involvement in. We have no intentions of sending in troops into Berlin. Neighbours or not, what Germany decided to do with their own borders is up to them. We stick by Germany and all that they so wish to decide. Enemies no more, today we unite, and what is right for them is satisfactory for us.
Do the French government feel an obligation as a neighbouring country to act upon this issue?
We believe that each country is able to defend matters within their own mainland. Germany have decided to the best of their knowledge what is best to do. We are not prepared to die for Berlin. Let us, as a leading nation, worry about our own current affairs and issues that may affect our own country. Nevertheless, we vow to give our continued support and thoughts for those at both East and West Berlin and for Germany itself as a whole.
Thank you, Minister Mesmer.
American Ambassador Dowling, what is the current reaction of the American people?
The people of the United States of America are appalled by the construction of the Berlin Wall. There is a strong feeling within the American public that Berlin has become a symbol of the Western stand against communist aggression.
How do you, Ambassador, personally feel about the formation of the wall?
I solemnly protest against the measures and insist that the East German government take the necessary steps to ensure continued, unrestricted access to East Berlin without hindrance as to the place and time.
Do American people sympathise with the German residents?
The American people do sympathise with German residents. The wall has affected so many lives. It has separated families and ruined many livelihoods. When it first went up, families could wave to each other from opposite sides of building tops and upper floor windows. Now family members on the east side of the wall have been stopped from waving back. News broke this week of a man who lives in West Berlin who has to now communicate in hand signals with his children behind the wall.
Soviet Union Ambassador Perevukian, what has been the response of the general public of the Soviet Union?
The Soviet Union has had very little say in the building of the Berlin Wall. We had no desire to elevate the tensions between us and the West. We wanted to settle our differences through peaceful negotiations. However, the Allies did not want this. They refused to demilitarize West Berlin and as a result led to an increase in tensions between the city. We did not choose to build the wall. In fact, the proposal was brought forward by the head of East Germany, Walter Ulbricht. It was he who demanded that the border be closed, and he was the man who continuously pressured the Soviet Union to cease negotiations with the West. His proposal was initially rejected. However, when negotiations broke down, the plan for the closure of the border was reluctantly agreed.
Would the Soviet Union be open to discuss the unification of Germany?
While there are tensions between Russia and Western Germany, the Soviet government is open to a reunification of Germany. However, while West Germany is a member of NATO, unfortunately that is not a possibility. However, if it was to occur, West Germany would need to accept the socialist system that exists in East Germany.
Thank you, Ambassador Perevukian.
And finally, we have BBC journalist Peter Woon on the line. Peter, what is the current opinion in Westminster on the Berlin crisis?
Westminster's reaction was quite slow to materialise. However, Her Majesty's government has voiced its opposition to the boundary in a formal written protest issued to Moscow on the 18th of August. Supported by both the United States and France, Westminster has placed the sole responsibility of East Berlin's fate on the shoulders of Moscow, whose actions are in clear violation of the terms of the 1949 Four-Power Agreement. Until Prime Minister Macmillan establishes a formal policy, however, exactly what actions will be taken in condemnation of this breach is not yet clear. For now, Macmillan and the Foreign Office are urging the public to not allow anxieties to turn into desperation and panic, while tense diplomatic issues are managed behind the scenes. It is quite likely that in the coming days and weeks, Westminster's position will become much clearer.
We hear from footage emerging from Berlin that there is a heavy military presence on both sides. What do the British force movements look like on the ground?
For the first time in years, heavily armed British troops are patrolling the length of the wall within our sector. Yesterday I had the chance to briefly meet with Brigadier Gathoff Hamilton of the British Army on the Rhine, and he explained that East Berlin officials were demanding British troops withdraw to 100 yards from the wall. To show that the British Army will not bow to foreign demands, the presence of British troops within the disputed zone was quickly escalated. At this moment, the Welch Regiment are on duty around the clock, supported by a squadron of Centurion tanks. Fortunately, West Berliners are contributing to the morale of our troops, bringing coffee, bread, jam and cigarettes to those on night watch.
In your discussion with Brigadier Gathoff Hamilton, is there any indication of what military movements to expect in the coming days?
Tension is extremely high, with less than a quarter of a mile between heavily armoured divisions, but Brigadier Gathoff Hamilton revealed very little to me about any existing plans. He did make it clear, however, that any and all movement by Eastern forces would occur under the watch of his forces. The planned reduction of the British Army of the Rhine will now be stalled, and the British War Office has announced that British forces can be reinforced in a matter of days with the support of the Reserve Army, and that orders to mobilise will be issued if any further escalation occurs.
To end our interview, Katie and I would like to say thank you to all our experts for taking part in our short telephone interview. This has been Ciara O'Donoghue
and Katie McCurry
reporting from the Foreign Affairs newsroom. Now we go back to the main studio with Shane and Myrne.
Thank you for that report and for our experts for taking part.
And with that, we would like to wish you all a safe evening.
Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.